Welcome back to God's Infinite Problem. The story continues here with free will. God is said to be omnipresent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, as well as omnipotent. Also, he is described as being outside of time, thus meaning time has no effect on him. Apparently, we have free will. In the religious realm, free will may imply that an omnipotent divinity does not assert its power over individual will and choices. There are several problems that need to be addressed here. When God placed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, he bestowed upon them free will. In this garden was an object, generally depicted as an apple, that if touched or eaten would allow them access to the knowledge of good and evil, and the differences lying therein. Problem 1a. Before even knowing of the apple's existence, they had no idea of what good and evil meant. Yet they were punished for making a decision that they, in fact, did not know was the wrong choice. God may have warned them of the consequences, but consequences in the context God has rendered them in this case are a negative, and thus in the realm of evil, or bad. Since they didn't know, they shouldn't be held responsible. Problem 1b. God is omniscient. He would have foreseen this error upon their part occurring before it did, thus negating the need to be mad at them for it. How can he punish them for something he, in fact, caused? He created them with the foreknowledge of the event occurring. Thus, he created the event, not their so-called free will. Problem 2a. Free will is an illusion, and if God exists, this is held to be true. Here's why. Every action you make, every keystroke you type, and the point in time that you type it, the force that it's typed with, and the emotion of your thoughts behind the words as you type them, God has knowledge of all of these things, even so before the fact. Thus, there is one timeline things can occur on. If God knows of it before it occurs, then it was always going to happen no matter what you do. No matter how hard you attempt to fool him by making decisions that seem random or of your own creation and ambition, he knew it before it happened. Problem 2b. God attempts to change his divine plan in order to change the outcome. However, once again, God knew he was going to change it before he did, thus negating the idea of free will. Problem 3a. God does not have free will, thus he isn't omnipotent. If all of God's actions are known by himself before they occur, and any change to his actions in the future are known and already accounted for as well, then God also lacks the ability to change what he will do. This is due to the fact that all of the changes he will eventually make, if any, are already known to happen before they do. So, should he, God, at any very instant in time, choose to change something about what's going to happen, then he also knew it was going to happen before it was changed, thus meaning he really didn't change anything, he just adhered to what was originally supposed to happen. Problem 3b. Thus, God is not omnipotent and thus isn't very godly at all. All he has now is the fact that he knows everything and is everywhere. Problem 3c. The omnibenevolence part is now negated by default on the previous premises. Since good requires the choice of an action, and none of his actions are of his own, then none of what he does has a good nature in the context good is meant to convey. Good now is a constant, if you will, And since nothing can deviate from what God has already set out, then nothing can deviate from that constant, thus meaning that all is good all the time. Evil is thus dissolved and indistinguishable from good, since what God wanted to happen was good all along, under the constant that lies therein. Clearly demonstrated here, God is an infinitely irrational being. God's very own characteristics quite clearly prevent his own existence. In order for him to exist, a greater explanation of his existence is required than is for the universe we see around us.